Fasten your seatbelts, America, because we're in for an economic roller coaster. On April 2nd, 2025, dubbed Liberation Day by the man himself, the US government unleashed a tidal wave of new tariffs on imports. These tariffs, affecting nearly every corner of the global market, are poised to send ripples through consumer prices and financial markets alike. Brace yourselves for price hikes on everyday essentials, from that new phone you've been eyeing to the car you rely on. This ain't no April Fool's joke, folks. These tariffs are here, they're real, and they're coming for your wallets. Let's rewind to April 2nd, 2025, a day permanently etched in the annals of US trade history as Liberation Day. Why Liberation Day, you ask? Well, according to the architects of these tariffs, it's all about liberating American businesses and workers from the shackles of unfair trade practices. The objective: to revitalize domestic manufacturing, reduce the trade deficit that's been a thorn in America's side, and bring back those manufacturing jobs that seem to have boarded a one-way flight overseas. Whether these tariffs will achieve these lofty goals remains to be seen. Now let's dive into the nitty-gritty of these tariffs, shall we? Picture this: a baseline tariff of 10% slapped onto virtually every import entering the US. Think of it as the cover charge for the privilege of selling goods on American soil. But wait, there's more. On top of this baseline tariff, we have reciprocal tariffs ranging from a modest 11% to a whopping 50%, targeting 57 countries deemed guilty of not playing fair in the global trade arena. These reciprocal tariffs, my friends, are where things get really interesting. Take China, for instance. Already burdened by existing tariffs, they've been hit with an additional 24% tariff, bringing the grand total to a jaw-dropping 54%. Ouch! Other major trading partners haven't been spared either, with the European Union facing a 20% tariff, Japan at 24%, and Vietnam at a hefty 46%. Exemptions in the tariff storm. Fear not, for amidst this tempest of tariffs, there are a few islands of exemption. Goods already subject to Section 232 tariffs, like steel and aluminum, get a pass, as do those covered under the USMCA agreement. Mexico and Canada, you lucky ducks. Certain metals, minerals, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, lumber, electronics, and energy products also find themselves on the exemption list. These exemptions, strategically crafted to minimize disruption in critical sectors and offer a glimmer of hope in an otherwise bleak tariff landscape. Prices on the rise. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: inflation. Before these tariffs reared their ugly heads, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, was already sitting at a not-so-comfortable 2.8%. But hold on to your hats, folks, because experts predict that these tariffs could catapult inflation to a dizzying 4.1%. Core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, is projected to surge to 5.1%. Independent analyses paint an even grimmer picture. Economists at Yale University estimate that these tariffs alone will contribute to a 1.3% increase in inflation. Factor in the existing tariffs, and that number climbs to a gut-wrenching 2.3%. The bottom line? Get ready to shell out more of your hard-earned cash for just about everything. From electronics to automobiles, the price hike forecast. Let's break down this price hike tsunami, shall we? Electronics, those ubiquitous gadgets we've come to rely on, are expected to take a direct hit, with smartphones, laptops, and televisions all feeling the burn. Clothing, another staple in our consumerist lives, won't be spared either. And don't even get me started on automobiles. With tariffs on imported parts and vehicles themselves, buckle up for a bumpy ride at the car dealership. Even furniture, that bastion of domestic manufacturing, will likely see price increases as imported materials like lumber and textiles become more expensive. Corporate profits, investments, and pensions feel the strain. Hold on to your portfolios, investors, because the financial markets are in for a wild ride. These tariffs are like a giant monkey wrench thrown into the gears of global trade, and companies that rely on imports or exports are feeling the squeeze. Profit margins are shrinking faster than a polar bear in a heat wave. and stock prices are as volatile as a caffeinated squirrel. Pension funds, those supposed bastions of retirement security, aren't immune either. As the stock market gyrates and the economy sputters, pension fund managers are left scrambling for safe havens. The possibility of stagflation, a toxic cocktail of stagnant growth and high inflation, looms large, threatening to erode the value of pension fund assets and leave retirees in a precarious position. Echoes of the past US tariff history, a cautionary tale. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it, or so the saying goes. And when it comes to tariffs, America has a long and checkered past. From the Embargo Act of 1807, which backfired so spectacularly it made a boomerang look like a precision instrument, to the more recent tariffs on solar panels and washing machines, history has taught us that tariffs rarely achieve their intended goals and often lead to unintended consequences. Remember the trade war with China? Yeah, that didn't exactly go as planned either. Navigating the tariff maze, strategies for consumers. So, what's a savvy consumer to do in the face of this tariff-induced economic maelstrom? First and foremost, channel your inner patriot and consider buying domestic goods whenever possible. Sure, that Made in America label might come with a slightly higher price tag, but hey, at least you're supporting American workers, right? Second, delay those non-essential purchases. Do you really need that new gadget or that designer handbag right this minute? Probably not. Third, become a master bargain hunter. Scour the internet for sales, clip coupons like your life depends on it, and don't be afraid to haggle. Remember, every penny saved is a penny earned, and a small victory against those pesky tariffs. On the financial front, diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially if that basket is labeled tariff-exposed industries. Consult a financial advisor, a real one, not your brother-in-law who claims to have made a killing on Dogecoin, to ensure your portfolio is properly diversified and can weather the coming economic storm. Uncertainty reigns, the need for proactive financial planning. As we navigate this uncharted territory of escalating tariffs, one thing is certain: uncertainty reigns supreme. The long-term effects of these tariffs remain to be seen, and much will depend on how long they stay in place, whether other countries retaliate with tariffs of their own, and how businesses and consumers adapt to this new economic reality. One thing is for sure: proactive financial planning has never been more critical. So buckle up, Buttercup, and prepare for a bumpy ride.